Alright, I can see here that after signing up for a new account and opening my workspace to get started, that it has me started in something called storyboard mode. I do not prefer to edit this way. You are more than welcome to check out the video on storyboard editing mode, but I am going to switch over to a timeline editor that is more familiar to me. And I'm going to do that by clicking on the hamburger menu up in the top left and switching to the timeline. I'm going to go ahead and delete the title that they gave me and just get started with a blank edit. Alright, now that we have some things imported into WeVideo, I want to just show you very briefly how to make some basic edits. I would recommend when you're creating any video that has narration to lay your audio or narration first, because that will set the timing and everything for the images that you're going to overlay. There's kind of no sense in overlaying images and then having to tweak all their sizes, I think. You can use whatever way works for you best, but that's what works for me. So I've got my narration here that I imported. I'm going to lay that on the audio track. You'll notice that if I try to add that to a video track, since there's nothing visual, it won't work. It turns red. If you try to do it over the audio track, it's green. So that just shows you where you can lay it. So I've got my audio. This one was pretty brief, so I don't think I made any mistakes, so I don't have to do any edits to that. That'll be the last time that ever happens, probably. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and lay my first slide, and you'll see that by default, if I should be able to hover over that, yeah. You'll see that if you hover over that, it'll show you exactly how long it's going to play for, and right now it's playing at 5 seconds. So I'm going to find out just how long it takes me to get through my title slide, and I'm going to make that image last as long as I need it to. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now. You'll play it up here in the top right hand corner, or I guess not necessarily top right hand corner, but over here on the right on top of your timeline. You're going to go ahead and hit play just to play until your audio gets to a point where you want to switch slides. Alright, this is Easy Video Editing with WeVideo. My name is Ashley Butler. I am the Digital Media Instructional Technologist in the CIP at Kenyon College. Alright, so you'll see here, even on your sound file, that there's a little bit of a gap in the audio. So that gives you a good indicator of when you need to switch slides. But you can see on the playhead that I need to switch slides right around 14 seconds. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just click on the slide and kind of go over to the right hand side of it until I get the horizontal arrows. And I'm just going to click it, and I am going to drag it until I get to 14 seconds. Now I can lay my second slide. My guess is with this gap over here that is when I'm going to have another transition. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, drag it all the way over to about 23 seconds and see how it goes. So I'll play it from there. Just a little bit of an overview today. We're going to have an introduction to WeVideo. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to use WeVideo and kind of show you how the tool works. And then we are just going to get in there and play and sort of figure our way around the tool and how it works. So, alright, so that ended up going kind of perfectly. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my third slide there. Drag that all the way to the end, because I know I'm only working with 3 slides today. And I'm going to go ahead and shorten this audio because I've got some dead space at the end of it. So you can do audio the same exact way. And so there we've sort of started layering. One thing you may want to add to your recording are some transitions. I personally like to fade between visual components or clips, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and click that and drag it right between each slide, and it'll create an automatic buffer, and that'll just show you now over here on the right hand side what that looks like. VIP at Kenyon College. Just a little bit of an overview today. So now we've got some nice transitions. Another thing you may want to add, I didn't need it for this because I have a title slide, but if you want any sort of titles, you can click here on text, and you've got motion titles, static titles, those are over here. You can sort of scroll through those. I will go ahead and just add one here just to show you what this is like. One note, if you do want titles, you want to make sure that's on the uppermost track on your timeline. So you'll see I've got video 1 and I've got video 2. You'll want to make sure that is on video 2, or else whatever is on top of that is going to drown it out. So as you can see, it sort of overlays over what I already have there. So if I wanted to take that title, I could go ahead and shorten this. And now, as you can see, it would flow better. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that because I actually don't want that title slide. There we go. And then another thing that you can do as well is add callouts over here. So they have a few different callouts if you want to point anything out in particular, especially helpful if you're doing instructional videos, and you can change colors and things like that. So one of my favorites is the rectangle. I'm going to put that over this slide. And say I wanted to point out this little note I have on the right hand side about getting a premium account. I'm going to go ahead and double click on my timeline, that part of my video, and this gives you all your editing options. So you can change the color. So say I want that to be, I don't know, pink, or look at deep dark pink like in my PowerPoint slides. I can click on that. I can make it as thick or thin as I want. Using the stroke slider. And then I can also make it the dimensions that I need and in the location that I need it in. Then go ahead and go down here and hit Save Changes, and that will add a box for you. And you can make that longer or shorter, just like everything else. You can add transitions to those as well. So if you want it to fade in and fade out, you can do that as well. If you want to zoom in or zoom out on a particular image, you can also do that. So if you double click any image that you have on your timeline, this is where you can make any edits for that. So you can make it bigger or smaller here. You can do that by resizing it over here in the preview window as well. And you can also zoom and pan over things using a start point and an end point. So not quite as helpful for instructional videos, more for digital narratives, but that is certainly an option. And you can also do things like adjusting the color and that kind of thing. I didn't make any changes, so I'm just going to hit cancel. If for some reason you do find that you need to trim something out, so say I coughed in the middle of my audio, maybe this spike in the audio over here is a cough that I want to cut out, I would just go ahead and move my playhead, click on the track that you want to split, and hit the scissors. I'm going to go ahead and go to the other side of that and do the same thing. Now you've got 3 different clips here, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that middle one because I don't want that, and I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard, or you can zoom in a little bit down here in the bottom right hand corner so it actually gives you something to work with. Nope, still not zoomed in enough. There we go. Now you get the little trash can, or you can hit delete that way. I like to just do it on my keyboard. And then you can just click and drag this over, and it's like that cough never happened. Alright, those are some basic editing tools. If you have any further questions, just let me know.